This is a really brief introduction to the way that St. Teresa of Calcutta both used the aspects of religion to process her significant life experience and how her beliefs were expressed differently before and after her experience. So when we talk about beliefs, we should remember that they are expressed in the aspects of religion, and each one of these aspects can inform those beliefs. Hence the double-edged arrow there. So wherever you see beliefs, always think of beliefs as kind of surrounded by these aspects. That means when you come across a Bessler question, how do beliefs influence the way that we respond to or understand a significant life experience, we should also think about, well, how do all of these aspects, so how do these beliefs expressed in the other aspects help us to understand or respond to the significant life experiences? So, for example, Mother Teresa, Saint Teresa, used the story to inspire her to respond to the significant life experience. Anytime you encounter a SLEB question, how did the significant life experience affect the beliefs, you should always remember that they are surrounded by the aspects. How did the significant life experience affect her understanding of her beliefs and her expression of those beliefs in the other aspects? So let's have a little think about some of these questions. So how did her beliefs before affect the way she responded to the significant life experience of leaving the Loreto order, and in particular the catalyst experience of those inner locutions she had with Christ and that decisive mystical experience on the train to Darjeeling. So you can see here the decisive mystical experience, her experience of the interactions with her superiors, particularly Father Van Exem, and then finally that indult of exclaustration. So how did her beliefs before and the aspects affect the way that she responded to this significant life experience? And always remember that when we're thinking about how she responded, we're thinking about both how she responded and how she interpreted. So how did it affect her understanding and her response? So let's have a look at some examples here. How did St. Teresa's beliefs, expressed in aspects, affect her understanding of her significant life experience? Well, let's have a look at texts, and in particular the text John 19:28. Do you remember what it is? That's right, I thirst. So because she knew Scripture, because her belief was informed by Scripture, she understood the context of the voice of Christ as being in the context of Calvary on the cross. And therefore she saw the entire experience as one in which she was sharing in the suffering of Christ, and she was called to satiate the thirst of Christ on the cross. So you can see how her understanding of the incarnation, as informed by the text of John 19:28, changed her understanding of her significant life experience. Let's look at another one. Ethics. That personal vow. I wonder if you can remember what her personal vow was. That's right, not to deny him anything. This was that personal vow in addition to the 3 vows she took as a Loreto nun. Because she made the vow, she understood that she has no choice but to obey the voice. So she has an understanding of vocation, but she has an understanding, she has this belief that personal vows cannot be broken on pain of mortal sin. And because she understands it, because she has this ethic understood through this, so her beliefs are understood through this ethic, she had no choice but to obey. She didn't have the choice in her mind, didn't have the choice to say, no thanks, I don't want to do this. Let's have a look at a couple more. What about spiritual experiences? The voice itself Remember that this was an epiphany in which she heard Christ say, "Come be my light." So the persistence of this voice, this spiritual experience. So remember, she has this belief in vocation. She has this belief in the incarnation, but this spiritual experience informs that belief and made her understand the importance of the call to Christ. Finally, stories. The story of St. Francis Xavier Cabrini made her understand that it was possible. She says, why can't I do for India what she did for America? So she took the example of the saint to make her understand that her call was not impossible. So you can see here that she has this belief that she's supposed to follow Christ. She has this belief in the incarnation, etc. But it's informed by this heroic story of St. Cabrini, who says, why can't I do for India what she did for America? Now, let's move on. How did St. Teresa's beliefs affect her response to her significant life experience? In the social structure. So she believed, of course, in the authority of the social structure. She saw her superiors as the voice of Christ. This is what Dietrich says about her beliefs beforehand. Because of this belief in the ecclesiastical structure of the church, and she believed that her superiors, in particular the bishop, had sacred authority, she would not proceed without their permission, despite that tension of believing that Christ was calling her to act. Again, in the social structure, she uses Father Van Exem and the medical sisters of Patna, and she's told to trust him by the voice. Her understanding of the apostolate meant she relied on others in the church for guidance and for instruction. And there's a nice little picture of Father Van Exem, if you haven't seen a picture of him. So you can see, without the social structure, she may have responded differently. She might have rushed into the decisions, rushed into the work. So look at part 2 if you'd like to know how her significant life experience affected her beliefs as expressed in the aspects.